Hello my beautiful friends. This What I Eat in a Week video is very kindly sponsored by my friends at Squarespace. Hello, welcome back to another video. I hope you've all been keeping very well. Hope you're enjoying the festive season, however you are choosing to celebrate. And yes, happy almost New Year as well. I cannot believe we are so close to 2022. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I ate in a week as a vegan. If you're new to my channel, what I eat in a week tends to vary depending on how busy I am, what kind of food I am in the mood for, a variety of other things, but at the end of the day, it is always all vegan. On the week that I filmed this video, it was actually super busy, so it ended up being a very simple week of vegan eats. As you will see, there's a lot of repetition in what I eat, which is honestly just realistically the way that I like to eat a lot of the time. When I decide I like something, I simply can't stop making it, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch this video. Before we get into it, I want to say a big thank you to my friends at Squarespace for sponsoring this video and also just being huge supporters of my channel over the past year. They have made a lot of my videos in 2021 possible, and if you have never heard of them, Squarespace is an incredible one-stop shop for hosting and designing your own website. I have been using it since September in 2020 when I started working on my own website. I have found it to be very user-friendly for a variety of things, including blogging, linking my social media, designing it, as well as selling products. It honestly is super simple. If in the new year you're looking to launch a website, maybe it's for a personal blog, maybe it's for an online store, whatever it is for, I highly recommend checking out Squarespace and using it. I genuinely love them so much, and you can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, you can head to squarespace.com/AmandaDux. Use my code AmandaDux. That gets you 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. This is going to be my last What I Eat in a Week video for the year, so I want to say thanks heaps for supporting me this year, and thank you so much for continuing to enjoy these videos. And also a big thank you to Squarespace, because they genuinely make a lot of my videos possible and allow me to share what I eat on the internet for a living. So thank you so much. Let's get into the video. I hope you enjoy seeing everything that I ate in a week, and yes, I think that's all. Okay, let's just get into it, shall we? So on Monday morning, I started my day by making a chickpea scramble, which is one of my favorite breakfasts to make. It's quite high in protein and it keeps me nice and full, which I really enjoy. Although it may not look super appealing, it's really delicious to me. I enjoy it very much so. So to make this, I put some chickpeas into a bowl, mashed them with my hands, add in some plant-based milk, as well as some nutritional yeast, turmeric, garlic powder, salt and pepper, and then I mix this all together until it's nice and evenly combined before I transfer it into a frying pan. I also like to add about a teaspoon of olive oil to my frying pan, just because I find that it cooks it and adds some extra flavor to it, which I really enjoy. And then when it comes to plating it up, I like to serve mine with some sourdough. So I just put some vegan butter on this sourdough for a bit of moisture, and then I topped it with the chickpea scramble mixture. I also love barbecue sauce so much, so I put some barbecue sauce on top, sprinkled some hemp seeds on top for some extra goodness, and this was my breakfast Monday morning. That then leads us into me preparing my lunch, because I was going to work this day, so I made a salad. I put some cos lettuce, cucumber and cherry tomatoes into a container, and then I'd also pre-roasted some cauliflower and some chickpeas, so I added these into the container as well. I set this to the side, and then it was time for me to make the dressing. I did the dressing separately so that it didn't make the salad go all soggy, for lack of a better word, and I made a coconut yogurt dressing, which I love so much. I put some natural coconut yogurt, Dijon mustard, and some freshly squeezed lemon juice into a jar, which I find to be the best way to make a dressing, because it's like so quick to just like shake it all together and make it nice and evenly combined. So I shook this all up. I took the dressing to work, as well as a yellow nectarine and one of these Tropica bars as a snack. When I got home this night, Cara was preparing me dinner. Cara is my housemate, just a by the way, if you're new here. And she was making me a crispy kale pasta with some gnocchi. It was really delicious, super quick and easy to make, and kept me feeling nice and full. I love kale so much. It's like one of my favorite vegetables. So good. Okay, on Tuesday morning, I started my day in classic Amanda Ducks fashion. If it's not avo toast and an iced cacao, what is it really, you know? So I made myself some smashed avocado by first of all putting some avocado into a bowl. I then added in some lime juice as well as some salt and some pepper, and then I mashed this all together. And now I have a very important question. Do you do this? Do you make your avo on toast this way, or do you smash it straight onto your bread? Personally, I could never smash it straight onto my bread. This is the way to do it for me. Anyway, I smashed that. Whilst my toast was toasting, I made an iced cacao. Link will be down below for the recipe if you want to try it out. And then I decided just to have one piece of toast with all of this delicious avocado on top as my breakfast. The perfect balance of savory and sweet to start the day. Love that. Okay, then when it came to lunch, I made this delicious wrap that I'm loving so much. I started with some warmed souvlaki bread, and then I added on a coconut yogurt tzatziki that I had made. I then put some cos lettuce as well as some sliced tomato. I also put a little bit of black pepper on the tomato because it's so delish. And then I added on some crispy chickpeas that I had made. I love chickpeas so much. If it wasn't evident already, I wonder if I'll go through a whole day without eating chickpeas in this video. Who knows? Anyway, this was really delicious, and I love making this for lunch because it is super quick and easy, and it also just tastes really delicious. It's got protein, it's got healthy fats, it's got carbs, it's got all the good things. I had been so in the mood for a shepherd's pie lately, so that is what I made for dinner using some peas and carrot and celery. I also then boiled some potatoes to make the top layer. I'm working on a recipe for this, so I promise that it's going to be coming really soon and you'll be able to make it at home. I just want to get it perfect for you before I go for it, you know? But this was a really delicious dinner, so hearty. It has quickly become a staple for us in the home because it tastes so good. It's so full of flavor, and it's also something you can prepare and enjoy the next day if you're that way inclined. Okay, Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning, I started my morning by making some homemade baked beans. This recipe will be linked below if you do want to try it out. One of my favorite breakfasts. Once again, I love beans on toast in many ways, as it is probably obvious by now. So I decided to put some vegan butter on this sourdough, and then I topped it with my homemade smoky baked beans. A delicious, hearty start to the day that kept me full for a very long time. Okay, moving on to lunch, and I started by cutting some spring onion, putting it into a pan with some olive oil. Then I also added in some leek, and I fried this off until it started to brown. Then I added in some lentils that I had drained, rinsed, and then mashed up a little bit. Then I added in some tinned tomatoes, and I mixed this all together. After this, I then added in some garlic powder as well as nutritional yeast and some salt and pepper, and continued stirring and fried it off for like 5 minutes or so. As is probably obvious at this point, we are making some lentil sausage rolls. I was making one each for Cara and I just used one sheet of puff pastry. I really loaded these up so they were nice and thick and delicious. I cut this into 2 halves and then placed them onto the baking tray, sprinkled with some white sesame seeds, and then put them in the oven. I also decided to serve mine with just a little side salad that was literally just, I think it's just spinach and cherry tomatoes. Is that all I did? There's probably some olive oil in there as well. And this was really delicious, a super quick lunch to make. Definitely recommend giving it a go. On Wednesday night, I had dinner at a friend's house. It was such a beautiful night, and she made this delicious homemade tomato soup. Oh, there really is nothing like homemade tomato soup. This was so delicious. And then she also made caramelized onion and vegan cheese toasty on the side to dip in the soup. As if it wasn't already delicious enough, this was such a hearty and yummy dinner. I loved it very much so. On Thursday morning, I decided to start my day with some granola. This is a maple tahini granola. The recipe is in my ebook. I topped it with some natural coconut yogurt and then some yellow nectarines, which are my favorite fruit in the world. Oh my god, they are just so good. I then poured some plant-based milk over the top, and this was a very delicious, I think I'm gonna have to eat a yellow nectarine as soon as I finish this. This was a delicious breakfast. Anyway, for lunch I decided to make another one of my wraps, but I used these flavored chickpea tins that I had just had in the cupboard for quite a while, so I decided to give them a go, and honestly, super convenient if you can't be bothered doing your own spices and you really just want to make some chickpeas really quickly. So I had my usual souvlaki bread warmed up, homemade coconut yogurt tzatziki, I cannot say that word, tzatziki. Anyway, topped it with some spinach, some tomato, some cucumber was added this time, so delicious. And then I added in my chickpeas, and these had like a lemon citrusy vinaigrette on them. Oh, they were so delicious. I cannot even deal with how good these wraps are. You definitely need to try it out at home if you haven't already. Then for dinner this night, I had made some delicious cauliflower tacos. I decided to have 3 soft tacos. I put some guacamole onto all of them, and then from there I added on some cos lettuce. Here's the thing, tacos are one of my favorite meals of all time because they're so fresh and delicious, but they make me feel really good. So I added some cos lettuce as well as some crispy cauliflower, a lime coriander creamy sauce that I drizzled on top. Oh, this was so delicious. And then I also topped it with some fresh coriander leaves as well as a wedge of lime to squeeze over the top. Really delicious dinner. I actually think I'll work on a recipe for this so you can try it at home. So it'll be coming in the near future. On Friday morning, I took myself out for a work date at my favorite local cafe, and I got myself an avocado on toast. This has balsamic on it as well as cherry tomatoes on a piece of thick cut sourdough. So delicious. And then with that, I also got myself an iced chocolate on macadamia milk, because would I ever order anything else? I don't think so. It was really nice to work at this cafe and eat at the same time. Absolutely loved it. Then when it came time for lunch, I once again decided to make one of these like souvlaki wrap bread things, but this time I decided to roast up some pumpkin. I roasted up extra so that I had leftovers to use later in the week if I wanted something really quick and easy to make. So I cut this pumpkin into cubes, cut the skin off, drizzled with some olive oil, and then I tossed this all together. I also added on some pepper and some salt just for some extra flavor. You could add spices here if you would like to, but you want your pumpkin to come out nice and soft and caramelized like so. For the last 5 minutes of the pumpkin roasting, I also added on some chickpeas and I roasted these in the oven. Once again, I added on some olive oil. This time I also added on some garlic powder as well. And yeah, I put this in the oven for like 5 minutes. Then it came time to assemble my wrap bread. Did my usual coconut yogurt tzatziki. Some cos lettuce as well as some sliced tomato. Then I added on my crispy chickpeas as well as my roasted pumpkin, and yes, this was just divine. As per usual, are we surprised at this point that I think it's divine? Absolutely not. On Friday night, my friends and I went to a local chip shop. There's Cara, giving you the Cara content that you want. And we just got some hot chippies for dinner, and we sat and we watched the sunset. It wasn't like much of a sunset because it was quite gloomy, but it was a really nice way to end the day. There's nothing like hot chippies by the beach with your friends, you know? On Saturday morning, I started by making myself some baked oats. So to do this into my blender, I put some oats. I then also added in some fresh banana, not a whole one, but like 3/4 of one. I then also added in some soy milk as well as some flax meal and protein powder. Then I also added in some maca powder, put the lid on, and I blended this all together. Once it was all blended, I then poured it into an oven safe bowl. Oh, So good. This is such a good breakfast actually. I topped it with some dairy-free chocolate chips and then put it into the oven to bake for like 15 minutes. Super simple and easy and quick and all of that delightful stuff. Once it was ready, I brought it out. Sometimes I like to top this with coconut yogurt or fresh fruit, but today I just decided to dive right in because I was in a bit of a rush and it was great. For lunch, I decided to make a chickpea tuna sandwich. So I put some chickpeas into a bowl, mashed them with my hands, then added in some vegan mayonnaise and continued to mix with my hands well. And then from there I made a sandwich. So I used some of this multi-grain bread. I started by putting the chickpea tuna mixture on top. I used about half of it. Then I also put some cos lettuce, so good. I added on some sliced tomato as well as some sliced cucumber. Then I also added on some vegan cheese, which I love so much on a salad sandwich. And on the other piece of bread, I spread some Dijon mustard. And this was a really simple lunch. I love making this because it's just like really quick to make. You can make chickpea tuna in advance and enjoy it throughout the week. And it also tastes really good, which is basically what we want from our food. So love that. On Saturday night, we had some friends over for dinner and I did a bao spread, which is kind of like a taco spread, except it's baos, if that makes sense. So I made some fresh veggies as well as a satay sauce and a sesame hoisin sauce, and it was absolutely divine. On Sunday morning, it was a really gloomy morning, so I felt like something hearty. I started by putting some chickpea tempeh into a frying pan, and then I added in this barbecue sauce, which was quite thin, and it was really good because it allowed all of that sauce to really soak in to the tempeh. Then I also added in some kale that I had in the fridge. I stirred this all around and fried it up, and then I used that leftover pumpkin from earlier in the week, which I love using leftovers. And then I just piled this onto a piece of toast because honestly, there's not much that doesn't taste good on a piece of toast. So that's what I had for breakfast. It was absolutely delicious. And then for lunch, I had some leftover baos. So I had some leftover cucumber as well as spring onion and carrot, sesame seeds, shallots. I also had some tofu and pumpkin, but I decided to use the cauliflower. So onto the bao buns, I put some hoisin sauce, added on some cucumber as well as spring onion and carrot. Then I added on the crispy cauliflower, sprinkled with some sesame seeds and shallots, and this was my lunch today. Love leftovers so very much. Then to end the week, I just made like this Asian greens bowl. I put some broccoli as well as leek and green beans into a frying pan just with a little bit of oil. Then I also added in a sesame soy sauce that I had made, and I tossed this together and got it nice and filled with flavor. Also added in some sesame seeds for a little bit of extra crunch. Then to serve this, I just had pre-cooked some brown rice. So I put the greens on a bed of brown rice. It was super packed with flavor, really delicious and hearty, and yeah, just a really nice way to end a great week of vegan food. Okay, so that was everything that I ate in a week as a vegan. A super simple week of vegan food, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. I have linked any of the recipes in today's video down in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed creating them at home. Have a very safe and festive new year. I look forward to seeing you in the new year with more what I eat in a week videos. Lots of love always. Thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you soon. Bye.